There's something almost mystical about people who stay calm no matter what. The world throws chaos their way. Plans fall through, people talk behind their backs. Setbacks hit one after another. Yet they stay centered, grounded, almost like the storm never even touched them. Ever wonder what they know that most people don't? See, most of us live on autopilot. We react instantly. Someone cuts us off in traffic. Boom, we're raging. A coworker says something slick. Suddenly our whole day is ruined. Even a stranger giving us a weird look can send us spiraling into self-doubt. But what if you didn't have to live like that anymore? What if you could become someone who doesn't get triggered ever? Not because you're cold or detached, but because you've mastered yourself. Carl Jung once said that most people are prisoners of their own reactions. They walk through life thinking the world is doing things to them, when in reality, the world is just reflecting back everything they haven't yet dealt with inside. Here's the real truth. Nothing can affect you unless it finds something inside you to latch onto. Someone calls you stupid and you feel anger. That's probably because a part of you fears it might be true. Someone ignores you and you feel crushed. That's because part of you still needs external validation to feel worthy. That's why two people can go through the same exact situation and walk away with completely different reactions. It's never about what's happening out there. It's about what's already happening in here. And that's where shadow work comes in. It's about digging into the parts of yourself that you usually ignore, the parts that feel shame, insecurity, fear. And instead of running from them, you turn and face them. Most people avoid this. They try to silence the pain. They blame the outside world for their discomfort. But those who truly wake up, they realize something big. The outside world is just a mirror. It's showing you what still needs to be healed inside you. And once you get that, once you truly understand that, you unlock a power that most people never even touch, the ability to shape your own reality by mastering your inner world. But here's the catch. Most people don't want that kind of responsibility. It's easier to say, my boss is the problem. It's my ex's fault. My bad luck is why I'm stuck. It's way more comfortable to believe life is unfair than to admit you might be the one giving everything around you the power to ruin your day. But for those who are ready to go deeper, to stop blaming and start observing, a whole new level of peace becomes possible. And the most beautiful part, once you stop reacting, you stop being controlled. You don't have to avoid toxic people anymore. You don't have to manage every little situation. You simply rise above it, not by being detached, not by becoming numb, but by becoming untouchable. Let's talk about control for a second. Most of us spend our whole lives chasing it, trying to control how people see us, trying to make life predictable, trying to force things to go our way. And when they don't, we suffer. We get hurt when people disrespect us. We feel betrayed when life doesn't stick to the script. We take it all personally, like the universe is out to get us. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Almost nothing in this life is under your control, except for one thing, your perception. Carl Jung got this. He knew that the world itself is neutral. It's not good or bad. It just is. What makes it feel negative or positive is the lens we look through. Think about it. Two people can experience the same breakup. One spirals into depression. The other sees it as growth, a redirection, a wake-up call. Same event, completely different response. Why? Because it's not the event, it's their perception of it. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." In other words, until you become aware of the beliefs and stories running in the background of your mind, you'll keep reacting blindly to life, thinking it's happening to you, when really it's happening through you. Here's where things get powerful. The more you try to control what's out there, the more you give it control over you. The moment you need someone to respect you, they have power over your peace. The moment you need a plan to work out perfectly, that plan controls your emotions. The moment you expect life to always be fair, you set yourself up to suffer. But the second you let go of the illusion of control, you gain something way better: freedom. Freedom from chasing approval. Freedom from fearing failure. Freedom from bending yourself into 1,000 versions just to make the world like you. Because real power doesn't come from controlling everything. Real power comes from mastering yourself. And here's the paradox. The less you need things to go your way, the more they often do. The less you chase validation, the more confidence you naturally carry. The less you fear rejection, the more effortlessly you attract what's aligned with you. It's not magic. It's not just spiritual talk. It's backed by science. Cognitive psychology has shown us that the more we try to control, whether it's people outcomes or even our own thoughts, the more resistance we create. Ever wonder why people who are desperate for love never seem to find it? Or why people afraid of failure always seem to sabotage themselves? Or why those obsessed with being in control always feel the most powerless? It's not bad luck. It's not fate. It's that desperate grip. That need to control is what's actually pushing everything away. So ask yourself, are you living in reaction? Or are you living in conscious perception? Because the moment you realize that nothing out there has power over you, not a single word, not a single person, not a single moment, unless you give it that power, that's the moment your entire reality changes. That's when you become untouchable. Let's paint a picture. You're walking down the street minding your business, when suddenly someone yells at you from across the road. You'll never be anything. You're pathetic. Now pause. What happens inside you in that moment? Most people would react immediately. Their heart rate spikes. Anger, embarrassment. Maybe they freeze or replay that sentence over and over in their head for hours, even days. But now imagine this. You don't react at all. No emotional spike. No tightening of your chest. Just silence. Not because you're ignoring it, but because it simply doesn't land. There's nothing inside you that grabs onto it. That right there, that's real power. See, this is what the Stoics practiced, what Zen monks teach, what Carl Jung understood better than most. Nothing outside of you can disturb your peace unless you let it. But let's go deeper. Why do insults, rejection, or disapproval hit us so hard? It's because most people are identified with a false self. They're not rooted in who they really are. They're wrapped up in a fragile image of themselves, built on other people's opinions, approval, and praise. When that image is threatened, it feels like their entire self is being attacked. Jung called it the shadow, the hidden side of ourselves, the part of us we don't want to face. All the fears, insecurities, and pain we've buried. So when someone triggers you, when you react emotionally, they're not creating your pain. They're just pointing to the wound you've been avoiding. Let that sink in. If you were fully at peace with yourself, no one could use words to hurt you. Their insults would be like yelling at a mountain. It echoes back, but the mountain doesn't move. So the real question is, why are you reacting? If someone calls you a failure and it stings, do you secretly fear it might be true? If someone disrespects you and you feel enraged, do you crave recognition to feel seen? If life doesn't go your way and you spiral, are you attached to a specific version of how things should be? Because here's the truth. The problem isn't the world. The problem is how you see yourself. The greatest power you'll ever have is not in silencing the world or removing all negativity or dodging every challenge. Your power lies in developing a mind that is unshakable, a mind that doesn't need outside validation, a mind that doesn't collapse under pressure, a mind that knows I am not what happens to me. I am how I choose to respond. And guess what? That's not just philosophy, it's science. Neuroscience tells us that emotional reactivity is a habit. The brain literally builds pathways for it. So if you always let the world control your emotions, your brain starts doing that automatically. But here's the game changer. You can rewire that. Through mindfulness, reflection, and emotional awareness, you can train your brain to slow down, observe, and not react. Over time, insults don't sting. Failure doesn't define you. Chaos doesn't scare you. That's when you become untouchable. Not because the world got nicer, but because you got stronger. Let's talk about something strange but real. You're never reacting to the world. You're reacting to your interpretation of it. Someone says something cruel and it hurts. But if we strip away the words, what's actually hurting, it's not the sentence. It's the meaning you assign to it, the fear it touched, the story in your head that you've carried for years. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." That's uncomfortable to hear, but it's freeing once you accept it. The world is a mirror. It shows you constantly who you think you are, not who you really are. You wouldn't get mad at your reflection in a mirror. If it frowned at you, you'd know it's just showing what you're doing. So, why do we get mad at life when it reflects something we haven't healed? Because we're attached. We tie our worth to what people think, to being liked, to being praised, to everything outside of ourselves. That's why we suffer. But what if You didn't play that game anymore. What if instead of reacting, you just observed? Now let's clear something up. Detachment is not numbness. It's not apathy. It's not cold-hearted. Detachment is freedom. It's realizing, I am not my thoughts. I am not this emotion. I am the awareness behind it. Think of a thunderstorm. It rages. It's loud. But way above it, the sky is clear, still vast. That's you. You are the sky, not the storm. The world will always bring storms. People will always have opinions. Plans will fall apart. But when you're anchored in your awareness, none of it shakes you. That's not fantasy. That's power. And here's what happens when you reach that level. You stop being the puppet. People can't push your buttons anymore. They can't manipulate you. They can't guilt you into things. Because you're not reacting, you're choosing. Your energy becomes yours again. So how do you get there? It starts with radical self-awareness. In every moment, you have two choices: react mindlessly or observe consciously. Try this. Next time someone tries to push your buttons, catch yourself in that split second before you react. Feel the trigger rise, then pause. Don't suppress it, just watch it. Like a scientist observing an experiment. That moment, that pause, that's your power. But here's where most people quit. They get uncomfortable in the quiet. You start doing this work, not reacting, letting go, claiming your peace, and suddenly things feel strange, quiet, lonely even, because you're stepping away from everything you once clung to. Approval, control, the chase, the drama, that space in between, the space between your old self and your real self. It's weird, uncomfortable, confusing. You're not who you were, but you're not yet fully who you're becoming. That's where most people run back. They go back to the chaos because it's familiar, predictable, even if it hurts. But if you stay in that discomfort long enough, something starts to happen. You breathe easier. You feel lighter. You begin to realize you're okay. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. And in that stillness, you don't become less human. You become more of who you truly are. So you've made it to the stillness. You're not chasing reactions. You're not ruled by what people say or what they expect. You've discovered that space inside you that doesn't flinch, doesn't defend, doesn't collapse under pressure. Now what? Now you become the master of your energy, because from this place, something remarkable happens. People start to feel your presence differently. You're no longer projecting insecurity, neediness, or desperation. You're grounded. And grounded energy, it's magnetic. You're not trying to impress, but people are impressed. You're not chasing love, yet love seems to find you. You're not asking for opportunities, and yet they arrive. Why? Because energy doesn't lie. When you stop reacting to the world starts responding to you. But here's the twist most people don't expect. The goal was never to control everything. The goal was to stop letting everything control you. Because when you let go, truly let go, you don't lose power. You gain it. It's like trying to hold water in your hand. Grip it tightly, and it spills everywhere. Hold it gently, and it stays. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing attachment to the outcome. You still take action. You still care. But you're not enslaved by needing things to go a certain way. And that's freedom. Let's talk about the art of being the observer. In every situation, you can do one of two things. Be the piece on the chessboard, reacting, scrambling, getting knocked around. Or be the player, watching the board, seeing the patterns moving with purpose. Better yet, be the person sitting above the whole game, seeing it all for what it is: temporary, fluid, a space to grow, not a place to suffer. This is the level of detachment that unlocks mastery. You don't need to dominate anyone. You don't need to prove you're right. You don't need to win every conversation. You already know who you are. You're not the piece. You're not even the player. You're the awareness behind it all. Let's break it down into practical steps you can carry forward. 1. Pause before reaction. When something triggers you, stop. Breathe. Ask, why does this hit me? Don't defend. Don't explain. Just observe. 2. Feel the emotion. Don't fight it. Don't suppress your anger. Fear sadness. Let it rise. Then notice where it comes from. What story is it attached to? What belief are you still holding? 3. Reframe the situation. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me about myself? This simple shift is the gateway to becoming untouchable. 4. Detach from the outcome. You can have goals. You can have vision. But don't build your identity on them. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, you're still whole. You've already won by not needing to win. Now let's talk about identity. Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when the applause fades? When the relationship ends? When success doesn't show up? Most people build their identity on sand things that change things they can lose. That's why they suffer. But when you anchor your identity to awareness itself, to the unchanging presence inside you, you become free. Carl Jung knew this well. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. In other words, if you don't do the inner work, if you don't face your triggers, your patterns, your stories, you'll keep reacting and you'll think life is the problem. But it's not life. It's the mirror. And you hold the cloth. So what happens when you do this work long enough? When you train yourself to observe rather than react, you enter a state that most people never experience, what we'll call the untouchable mind. This is the mind that stays calm in chaos, is rooted in peace, doesn't swing between extremes, doesn't need the world to behave in order to be happy. It's not numb. It's clear. It's present. It's wise. You laugh more. You stress less. You stop overthinking. You move through life like water, gentle, powerful, unstoppable. And here's the final paradox. When you stop trying to change the world changes around you because your energy shifts. You no longer resist what is. You no longer chase what isn't. You simply are. And in that beingness, opportunities open. People show up. Life flows. Why? Because you've stopped trying to control the river. Now you're floating with it. That's not passivity. That's alignment. The river doesn't need to be pushed. You just needed to let go of the rock you were clinging to. So, here's your invitation. Let go. Not in fear, not in defeat. Let go into freedom. Let go of the lie that you're not enough. Let go of needing people to validate you. Let go of controlling how things unfold and watch what happens. Life begins to move differently, not because the world got easier, but because you got clearer. You're not chasing peace anymore. You're returning to it. And the peace that comes from within, that kind of peace can never be taken away. If this message resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who's ready to stop reacting and start living. Drop a comment. What part hit home the most? And if you're ready to keep diving deeper, subscribe. Because the journey isn't over. This is just the beginning.